we will get started with our roll down here. Let me know if the tech is problematic at any point today. And we're just gonna roll on down here. Sorry, my head's cut off, but bring your chin to chest. Activate that core on your exhale, tilt the pelvis and melt down the front of your body here. Great, then at the bottom here, notice where you feel tight today. And if this is your norm, and then start to bend and straighten both knees. Again, seeing if you can get a little more stretch out of this, but also some blood flow into the back of your legs. And then pause. Let's bend just one knee at a time and alternate right and left, seeing if your body has anything to tell you right and left what's going on. Something's tighter. And then we'll pause, tilt the pelvis, stack on up on top of the hips. It's really a core exercise to do that. And then we'll go down one more time, alternating the stretch between the right and left. If you guys don't mind checking if you're on mute, I think I hear an echo. And then coming up the same way, that stretch right and left through the shoulders, really supporting that stacking up with your core here. And then once you're all nice and stacked up, soften the knees and feet and see if you can bring your weight back into your heels. And that's a great place to start your chin nods from. And getting used to your balance being a bit into that back body, having to use all those muscles in your behind. All right, in our chin nods, we're looking to stretch out the back of the neck, start to feel into the shoulder blades as well. 2 more and then hold your chin nod here. Let's start rotating the upper arm bones in the shoulder sockets. Good. Really opening up the arms so that the hands face to the sides of the room here. Great. 2 more of those. And then we'll pause with the palms facing forward. And you'll start some shoulder blade squeezes there. So just these guys. We do these so often when we're laying on our stomachs, but really squeezing those shoulder blades together, getting the back line of the body on. And then bend your elbows and let's continue squeezing the shoulder blades together. It might feel like you're opening up the ribs. At the same time you're opening them up, try not to let them flare forward. And we'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let the arms just drape. We'll go into rib cage arms next. Inhales up, exhales on down. And we'll go 4 more times. Inhales up, don't let those ribs flare. Exhales down. This is 3. Try and use the bottom of your shoulder blades to lift your arms overhead. 1 more. And then pause here and do shrug the shoulders. Really purposeful, working on any neck tension, identifying it. You can move your neck around, nod your head yes and no. And then think into the muscles at the bottom of your shoulder blades and see if those guys can shrug your shoulders. It's kind of a different feel in that shrug. 2 more times, then we'll take it into our side bend. Do hold here and take a big inhale into the open side of your ribs as you do these. And then slowly come through middle and reach over to side 2. Careful not to collapse in that bottom side, and a nice big inhale here. Good. And then slowly come through middle. We'll exhale, pulse twice. Inhale through middle. Exhale, pulse twice. Inhale through middle. And I make an effort to really soften my lower body joints. It helps me ground into the feet, and then I'll get more stretch, particularly in the bottom of the hip. 1 more to each side. It feels so good to be moving. All right, and then bring the arms in front of you, and it's like we're warming up our hands. Bringing one completely past the other. I want you to think into your rhomboids between the shoulder blades here. Do you feel them stretching? Great. And then have the hands just in front of you. Bend the elbows if your arms get tired. My hands are about shoulder distance apart. I'm gonna reach one forward and back and then alternate. One forward and back and alternate. And I just want you to feel those arm bones get nice and organized in the rotator cuff. That's where I ask you to do any arm work like bicep curls or push-ups from. And then let's do both hands at the same time. Reach forward, squeeze those shoulder blades together, bringing the arm bones back into the rotator cuffs. They never truly leave, but it's just that more secured feeling I'm trying to get you to identify. 2 more times. 1 more time. Good. And then let's go into rib translation and just giving our arms a bit of a break here. Getting those ribs to go side to side. Exactly, Julia. You can be out here if your arms aren't tired, because I just don't want it to go in the neck. 1 more set. All right, and then move that down to the hips, going just right and left, feeling into your obliques here. If you have any low back pain, feel free to ask me about that. I just recommend going smaller until you're pain-free. Okay, and then from here, let's do flexion and extension. So using those abs to change where the spine is, or to change the shape of the spine. Inhales forward, exhales on back. Inhales on forward, exhales on back. 2 more. Good, and then we'll pause and do our last upper body piece, which is spine twist. It's a double pulse, an inhale through middle, really attempting to keep your hip bones square and steady. Don't let them twist with you. Squeeze those shoulder blades down the spine. You just want to be careful you're not slowly bringing shoulders up to ears here. If that's happening, no, you could just hold your hips instead. And we're about to finish up anyways. Make this one your last set. And then just a little bit of grounding and warm up into the feet. Let's do inversion and eversion. And I just adjusted so my feet were hip distance apart. Encourage you to do the same. And then look up the whole time. See if you're in your chin nod. And then take this into 4 tires. So pressing into first and second toe, pinky toe, outside of the heel, inside of the heel, first and second toe, pinky, in around. I'd be curious if you guys think the musculature, the shape of your feet has improved with doing these a couple times a week. Let's reverse directions. Awesome, okay. And then some calf raises just to get the blood pumping. And getting the blood pumping just a little bit more. I'm gonna have you lift your heels, lower, and bend into a squat. Stand tall, lift the heels, lower, bend into a squat. Good, and we'll go 5. This is 3. Now we're into 2, and 1 last one. Good, okay, hope you got the blood pumping there. Let's take it on down to the floor. Just get nice and supported and comfortable. We'll have that long TheraBand nearby, but we'll start with some more floor work and core work here. I'm gonna lie on back and immediately start with my chin nods. And then that ball will be between my knees. So in those chin nods, I exhale, pull navel to spine. So as I stretch out my neck, I associate that with using the core. And then let's do a quick body scan here. So feet flat on the mat, knees are bent. Gentle squeeze of that ball. And then scanning on down to the tailbone. It should feel pretty neutral and flat on the mat, which will create that small crawl space where the lumbar spine and the sacrum join. You can imprint that into the floor if your low back is bothering you today. And then check that the whole back of your rib cage is on the mat, shoulder blades are flat, and the hands are reaching towards feet. And we'll flatten our palms to the floor, and then scanning that our head's in a chin nod. Next step, let's take it into 8 stability bridges. So exhale, squeeze the ball, lift, inhale, lower, and 7. Keep squeezing the ball. That was 6. This is 5. Check that the bottom front of your ribs are zipped together. You don't want those guys flaring up. You want the ribs feeling organized and held together. 2. And then pause up here on 1 and take it into typewriters. For any reason, if those bother your back or something else, do pelvic tilts instead. And we'll go 4 and 3. Notice what side is easier for you to move to. 2 and 1. Great. Go ahead and lower, and then take it into your pelvic curls here. So it's a kind of rocking the pelvis, bringing the pubic bone towards the nose and away. And 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Next up, we'll take it into right to left movements, 1 hip bone towards the ceiling, 1 towards the floor. Really try and use your obliques and different abdominals here to stretch out the back, stretch out the pelvis and hips. Okay, and then version 2, it's like a hip hike, 1 hip bone towards ribs, 1 towards feet, and switch, and switch, and switch. It helps to be in a pelvic curl while doing these. Good, and then pause, bring yourself back to a neutral and start your circles or your pelvic clocks. Go for 4 in this first direction. And isn't it interesting that the body always kind of knows which direction is easier? And then reverse. Noticing where things have gone well today and you have good coordination. And then where things are challenging, go slow in those areas. Build that wiring, and then pause. Okay, next up, I'm gonna have you bring your legs into tabletop, activating the lower core here. Usually I recommend imprinted here, and we're gonna go into toe taps, really working on that lumbopelvic stability. Just one of those foundation pieces that never gets old to work on. Okay, we'll go 11, 10. Again, low abs, not hip flexors. We've got to go slow enough that we give those low abs time to kick on. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Zip the legs together, reach the arms out to the sides of the room, and then take the legs right and left here. This is just your yummy spine twist. You guys keep going. Great, okay, and then finish out your right to left set there. Let's come back to your middle. And then bring your hands behind your head, knit the fingers together to make a head hammock. And we'll take it into upper abdominal curls. Exhales up, inhales on down. All right, let's add on that second breath. It's an exhale up and hold. Inhale, hands come around. Exhale, pull that belly to spine more deeply. Inhales, hands come back up around and lower. 3 more. Exhale up. Inhale around. Exhale, pull navel to spine more deeply. Inhale back around and lower. 2 more. Exhale up. Inhale around. Exhale, pull navel to spine more deeply. Inhale back around. Last one. Great. Okay, and then legs are gonna return back on down. Feet are on the floor, knees are bent. And then if your TheraBand is nearby, you'll grab it. If it's not nearby, don't worry about it. We're gonna do rib cage arms with a mobility bridge. So mobility bridge starts in that pelvic curl. We peel off one vertebrae at a time. Rib cage arms, we lift the arms overhead while keeping those bottom front ribs zipped together. Don't let them flare. And here's the choreography. Arms reach overhead. Arms come down to hips, and then you peel off one vertebrae at a time and press your hands down to the floor. We've done these before. Hopefully they feel familiar. And then hands go back overhead. Arms lower, peel off the floor, lengthen, rejoin the floors, arms go overhead. Good, let's go 7 more of those. My hope is you use the lats in your mid-back and your triceps at the back side of your upper arm bone. This is 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and then last one. Good, and then you can put the band to the side. We're gonna do some oblique abdominals. So we'll start with the right leg in tabletop. Exhale, coming on into that upper ab curl. So hands are behind the head, exhale, come up, and then rotate, looking at that right knee, and little pulses here. You can even bring the right leg in a smidge, just as long as you feel like it's coming in from the low abs. Upper abs are controlling the whole shoulder off the floor piece. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Come through center and lower. And then notice if you were holding your breath or if you were breathing during those pulses. Let's add that breathing back in. Exhale on up, rotate, look at that left knee and pulses here. Inhales for 2, exhales for 2, inhales for 2, exhales for 2. One more set, inhales for 2, exhales for 2. Good, come through center. Hopefully you feel really nice, good burn there. And then hug knees to chest. Let's lengthen out the low back here. And then we'll take it into rolling like a ball. Okay, so hands behind the thighs, roll up like a roly-poly, and then start to rock and roll. My floor is a little hard, so I might end up skipping this one, but do about 4 more rolling like a balls here. Rolling back just to the shoulder blades. Awesome. Try not to let the feet fly up so much. You could even hold your feet in, and you have to use your abs a lot more, which means you also might get stuck. And then you just rock and roll until you're upright. Cool. All right, let's grab the band. And we're gonna do our supraspinatus piece here. So just from seated, whatever leg position you're comfortable. My preference is that you're on the sit bones. Okay, and I'm gonna turn towards you guys so you can see me, but you don't have to mimic that. This one, we always keep those elbows close to our sides. If it's hard to keep your elbows close to your sides, put some towels underneath them. It's like we wanna make sure we don't drop that object underneath, like we're holding a newspaper. And then bring the ears back over shoulders. Just work on all that good posture while you do your arm movements. Woof. And then a couple reps past that really good burn. Good. Okay. And then from here, have an overhanded grip. So my palms are facing the floor here and the band is in front of me. Now I'm just gonna pull it apart. You can even use that L grip, no thumb, no index finger. And then think about what's going on between the shoulder blades. Hopefully that's where the fatigue is. Squeeze the shoulder blades down the spine. Say, hello, rhomboids. Sometimes it's so hard to feel what we can't see. Yeah, great job. Okay, and then from this seated position, we're gonna come on to one elbow. You can start on your quote good side. Like to think of it as the teaching side, and then premeditate anything you're going to look for to take care of your shoulders and your body here. Maybe go ahead and rub through the neck here, asking those upper trapezius to take a vacation. Okay, and then we'll take it into side lying lifts. Lifting and lowering here, still just warming up. Really activate through these bottom obliques. Squeeze that shoulder blade on down. And we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then we're just going to quickly take it over to side 2 here. I just want to warm up all these pieces, and we'll go into our first arm series. So this may be your more tenuous side. Go ahead and massage into the neck and upper trap here a bit, just feeling what it's like when they relax. And then check that elbows underneath the shoulder, and you can start your lifts. So hand can keep holding the upper traps, or you can hold your hip. Okay, we've got 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay. And then coming back on to sitting, we're going to put the band around our feet. Just do a couple of roll downs here, play around with tension in the band, and then play around with the arm bone staying in the rotator cuff. So if you're tethered to the wall, that's actually like the safest setup. You can just hold on to the bands. Otherwise, we're going to tether them around our feet. The looser the band, the more challenging the exercise, to the point that no band is the hardest. You start on sit bones, you start sitting tall, and then tilt the pelvis, roll them down. Now, the whole time you go down, I want you to play around with those arm bones staying in the rotator cuff so that you don't round shoulders forward. You're here. Even when you roll down, say you pause halfway, I want you to feel like you're squeezing shoulder blades down the spine and lower. Same with coming up. If you were to pause halfway up, are your shoulders rounded forward, or are they still squeezing down the spine? Good. Let's do 2 more of those, and then we'll go into one-legged work. Try and sit really nice and tall at the top. A good indicator is feeling like you're on sit bones. Good. Okay. And then we're going to put the band just around the right foot. So take it off the left. If you're tethered to the wall, you just lift up the right leg. If you're not tethered to the wall like me, you're going to have a pretty tight hold on the band while squeezing the arm bones into the socket. So the tighter the band is, the more tempting it is to throw the arm bone forward. We got to work those small muscles to keep the arm bones nice and secure. And then we're going to roll down with that right leg in the air. Attempt to keep the elbows straight, which might mean you come out of tension at the very top of your roll up. We're going for 4 total. So we probably just did number 2. This is 3. Good. And 4. And then from here, we're going to roll halfway down, check those arm bones, feel secured, and then take it into your bicep curl. And I'm always fidgeting with my length of band. Feel free to do the same, that it's different for the roll downs versus the bicep curl. We're going to go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Okay, and then straighten the leg. Bring that right leg back down to the floor. Let's put the left foot in the band and lift it. If you're tethered to the wall, you're just lifting the left leg. And then we'll start our 4 roll downs here. We want to have straight arms, but arms organized into the rotator cuff. And up and down you go. It can get really hip flexory. So just try and catch that sensation. Do what you can to bring the work into the low abs. And again, we want elbows straight, even if we come out of band tension here at the top. All right, and then pause halfway down. Feel free to alter your band tension and then take it into your bicep curls. So you may want to hold higher, but kind of loose. Anything you can do to keep that feeling of arm bone in the rotator cuff without it feeling locked in there. It's a happy medium. All right, we've got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then sitting up tall, bringing that left foot back down to the floor. And we're going to bring both feet into the band, or both feet on the floor if you're tethered to the wall. And then if you're tethered around your feet, you're going to make an X. This week, I'm going to have the band that the left hand holds on the top of the X. And then when you're ready, we'll go into rowing here. So as you row, sit up really tall like a string's pulling your head to the ceiling. That should feel like you're on your sit bones. If you're having trouble getting there, try bending the knees. And then enough band tension that your elbows don't go behind your ribs here. They pause there. You get that great squeeze underneath the sports bra. Another long set here, okay? Let's go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Okay, and then from here, to adjust the band tension, we're gonna do one arm rows, also called bow and arrow. So I'm gonna rotate to the left first, just because that's the side the camera's on. Squeeze that left shoulder blade down, use the obliques to rotate on the spinal axis. If you're rotating left, those obliques are working from right armpit to left hip pocket to help you twist. We've got 5, 4, squeeze that left shoulder blade down as you twist. Now we're down to 2. Exhale as you twist, and 1. Good. And then we're gonna do the right side, okay? So I'm gonna switch the way my bands are crossed if you're around the feet. Right hand is holding the band that's on top, and twist. Reach that left arm forward, sit really tall into it. Inhale forward, exhale, twist. As you twist, squeeze that right shoulder blade down. Sit really nice and tall into that spinal axis. All right, we've got 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Great. Okay, you can put the band, take it away from the feet, and we're gonna kneel again, do another set of the supraspinatus here. And then we'll go into TikToks. So kneeling with the band, pulling the band apart. You guys stay there. Good. Keeping those elbows nice and tight by your sides. Going to fatigue here. All right, and then putting the band down, arms out to the sides of the room here, and then we'll go into TikToks, okay? Make this about your shoulder blade stability so that as you land, everything feels really organized, not overly compacted, but organized. Softly landing on your palm, and then bending the elbow, helping yourself push off through those wing muscles, shoulder girdle muscles, not through the neck. Just working on that coordination. Good. You guys ready for some more obliques here? Okay. Bring one hand behind the head and pause. And then coming up and down from the floor. And this is all very much your lateral plane here. You're not going forward, and you're working this top side here. We'll go 7, 6, it's just a soft touch with that bottom arm. Some more for safety to catch yourself if you lose your balance. And 3, 2, and then 1. All right, let's do our second side here. Top hand behind the head. Think about that lateral plane. Exhale on up. Top side of obliques works the hardest, but I'm still feeling work in that bottom side. Good. All right, 5, and 4, 3, 2, and then 1 here. Good. And then it's a nice place to bring both hands down to our mat and rearrange our knees into quadruped. Okay, in quadruped, I want those knees comfortable. So if you need to double up your mat or add some cushions, you sure can. Okay, and then start with sternum drops. Sternum drops are very related to my warm-up exercise of the arm bone being secure in the rotator cuff and then loose. See if you can mentally feel the connection. And we'll do 3 more sternum drops here. And then take it into your cat and cow. Nice big back arch through middle. And then gently looking up at the horizon, squeezing the shoulder blades down, maybe turning the tailbone out. All the while, pull that navel to spine. And then back into cat. 2 more at your rhythm. And last one. Good. Okay, tail wags next, and then we'll get into some of the more challenging stuff. Just starting with either foot, but doing 4 to 7 reps here. See if you can really work the obliques while getting that oblique stretch and hip stretch. Good. Okay, and then find your center again and repeat with your second foot. 4 to 7, 8 reps is just great. And last one. Good. Okay. Reorient and center yourself so that you locate that box, that you're going to keep it. Check that the back of your neck is stretched out, which usually means you're in your chin knot. Squeeze the shoulder blades down the spine. And then we're just going to do 4 reps for this first set. We're going to do arms, lifting 1 at a time, and then legs. And then I'll add the TheraBand in and we'll do more like 8 to 10 reps. But this is more just to get us our proprioception warmed up. So I'm lifting the right arm and we'll go 4 times here. Lifting from the mid back. Good. About the last rep here on the right. And then as you put that hand down, notice if you've altered your all fours box. And now let's lift the left arm. Trying to lift it from the mid back, not the upper trap. I move the neck around, gauge that neck tension. And then pause. All right, I'm gonna lift the right leg back from the glute and hammy, not the low back. Try and maintain that all fours outline. Just going for 4 reps there. Find the equilibrium and then repeat on the left. And 3, lifting from that glute and hammy, 2, and 1. Okay, now we're gonna add that band in. If you're having a day where your neck is just really activated, I'd take the band away and just do the arm movements, but I will demo it with the band. So I'm holding it in my right hand. It's tethered underneath my left. If you're tethered to the wall, you can make this one work for you just the same, right? Lifting overhead. And we're going 4 more here. Check in with the box. Are your abs still pulled up away from the floor? Is that corset muscle tight around your midsection? And then let's add on. So lift, right arm overhead, reach to the side of the room, back overhead and lower. Adjust the band so it's not too difficult, especially when you reach to the side of the room. We want those more subtle muscles to kick on and shine not the upper trap taking over. We're still lifting arm from mid-back. When you reach it to the side of the room, try and engage the underside of the arm into the shoulder girdle. 2 more. This has been a nice long set, so really good job. Good. Okay, and then I'm going to switch sides here. So now the band is going to be underneath the right palm. Going to hold it in my left hand and just reach overhead here. Work on stabilizing through that right side while the shoulder blades squeeze down the spine, and back to lifting that left arm from the mid back, not the neck. Move the neck around if you're having neck issues. Check your belly still pulled to spine, and then we're going to add on. So still on the left arm, lift overhead, reach to the side of the room, back overhead and down. Good. Up, side. Check that you're using the underside of the arm here into the bottom of the shoulder blades. And 4, woo, feeling that burn. 3 and 2. Good. And then 1. All right, come back to kneeling for me. And we have these bands here, so let's use them. Press on back. This is just chest expansion. Elbows are straight, palms are somewhat facing in. And then add a little reach of the fingers to the floor. If you're holding weights, you can think reaching knuckles to the floor. And just find that lat work and core work in front here as you press back. Okay, kicking it up about 2-3 notches here, you'll press back, hold, and do little circles back here. Again, feeling those lats work, maybe even triceps, and then reverse. Let's go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and then you can loosen the band a bit. I'm going to put one end on the floor. And we're going to do some whole body arm work here. It's going to be pretty tired into the shoulder blade today, but you're going to come to standing. If you're tethered to the wall, you just want your tether point off to your left here. I have my left foot on the band, so we won't quite be mirroring each other, but I don't trust myself to cue this opposite. And I'm going to move the camera back so you guys can see me a bit better. Just start some lunges here without the arms. We did these last week. So it's often called the fencing series. So just start with heels together, toes apart, walking out and bending on that right knee. Left leg stays straight. Great job. Good. Hip bones level, lunge out. Good. Okay. And then have just a moderate amount of band tension. You're going to fence or shoot the arm out to just the side of the room, not up yet. Okay, we're going to go 7, 6, trying to have that explosion go off in the shoulder blades. That's what presses the arm out with power, not the neck. All right, and 2 and 1. Woo, getting the heart rate up there. Now we're going to lift the band on a diagonal pretty high here. If you feel it only in the upper traps, this hand can massage and help work on that. Or you could bring the arm lower. Form and correct muscles are so much more important. Good, again, so fencing high. Feeling the knee muscles work on that right side. Good, and 4, 3, 2, and then 1. All right, I'm going to have you lunge out with the arm low and hold here. Okay, the toes can be turned out. I just want the kneecap in alignment with first and second toe. And then we're going to play around with the band tension and get it kind of right for us here. I'm bringing my arm into this circle shape. It's our hug a tree. Okay, and then we're going to rotate and look in the direction just to the right side of the room. How's that? Now keep your hip bones facing forward. as you rotate. Maybe you don't rotate as big as me, that is okay. I just want the hips nice and stable forward. And then what we're mimicking is the kneeling sidearm series from the reformer. Pretty difficult to find at home, so very proud of you guys. Recruiting through the shoulder blades here. Last two. Keep on breathing. Exhale as you do the movement. Inhale, come back. Okay, and then slide your feet together. And then pass that band to the left hand. And I apologize, I'm not mirroring you guys. I'm a little bit opposite. My heels are in, my toes are out. This is second position. Let's bend and straighten the knees here without much band tension. These are your plies. It's not a squat because we're upright. Good. Hey there, little one. And then we're gonna press the arms up. Are you doing the bands too? You're fencing with us? That's awesome. This is, usually too difficult for kids, so you're just doing great. Good. So this is also called high fifth. It's an overhead reach. Really try and press out through the shoulder blades. And two. Good. And last one. Okay, and then bring this band back to the left arm. And it's going to be kind of loose here, guys. And you're going to lift it out towards the right side of the room. Did I cue that right? This is my right hand. And then lifting it to the right side of the room. And this is a little bit awkward of a tricep press. Bring that band behind you, but don't hyperextend the shoulder. And then you're gonna press straight through the elbow. Good. Like you're giving somebody a high five here. This upper arm bone on the right is pretty stationary in space. I'm just bending from the elbow. Good for finding it, guys. 4, 3, 2, and then 1. And I'm gonna say disengage the band here and let the band go loose and then bring your arm bones down. I just don't want you disengaging with the band back here while you're under tension. It's not so great for the shoulder. Okay, we're gonna switch to having the band under the right foot now. For the most part, the left arm's gonna be doing most of the moving and work, okay? You can start with the heels together, toes apart. Hands can be on hips. We're just gonna get the hang of our lunges here. This leg is straight. Stepping out to the left. Using those great turnout positions. Heels come together. Woo. And then we're gonna add on this left arm, pressing out. Press out by loading up that shoulder blade with energy and little explosions to press out versus pulling through all those guys. You can always hold on to up here and catch yourself if that engages. It's a process. I have to undo it every week. 2 more, and then we're gonna do our high version. Okay, make sure that feels healthy in your body to reach up high, really press out through the shoulder blade. You can always lower some. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and then from here, we're gonna do our hugs. So I'm gonna step away, still tethered under my right arm, and then that circle, that hug feeling, and a moderate band, definitely not a tight band. And then you go into your rotations while hugging. Hip bones, those guys are still. That rotation is mostly in the thoracic spine. Yeah, Michelle, that looks great. Good, squeeze those shoulder blades down the spine. 4, 3, 2, and then last one. Okay, now we're gonna bring the heels into second position. And just practice your plies here, straightening and bending, like you're sliding up and down a wall. You're staying really nice and upright. Core is on. And then this right hand is gonna hold the band. So the same hand that the foot is tethering, okay? And then as you stand, you can press up. It's that great high fifth. and 4, 3, 2, and last one. Good. Okay, and then this left hand goes back to holding the band. As we get into this one, I just want you to be careful not to hyperextend the shoulder behind you, okay? But it's no, this is the left hand holding the band. I'm gonna rotate so I'm looking away from the band, and usually the band can come behind you. We're going to tricep press. Just make sure it feels right in your body. This is where these home workouts are challenging, but you guys are showing up for yourselves and making this all work. Again, it's a tricep on the left side. Careful your head's not way forward. Want that nice combination of shoulder blades down and head and a chin nod. Woo, and 3, 2, and 1. Now disengage the band with the arm in front of you. Keep that shoulder safe, and then we can drop the bands on down to the floor. All right, let's return to the floor. And then I'm gonna take us into our side lying. One more time, you can start on quote your good shoulder, and I'm gonna give us 2 options here. So we're gonna do side lying lifts again. So you can, option 1 is to have the knees bent. Option 2 is the legs straight, feet slightly in front of you. Top leg is in front. And this is the option 2, okay? We're going 8, 7, make it about that shoulder blade stability. This is 5. You guys can barely see me, sorry about that. Keep going, that was 4 and 3, 2, and then 1, okay? Now we're all gonna come down, come to the knees, lift and hold here, okay? This elbow is still underneath the shoulder, and then we're gonna lift overhead and lower, and lift and lower. Great. If this isn't yummy in your body and challenging in the right way, modify. Last one. Good. And then we're gonna walk the feet out or just hold where you are. Walk the feet out or hold where you are. Good. And hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Bring the head back. 2 and 1. Good. Go ahead and lower all the way. Woo, a little bit of humble pie, but it's good to get that burn on. Let's take it to side 2 here. So bringing that elbow underneath the rotator cuff and lift and lower here. Okay, and then option 2 is straightening the legs. The top leg is slightly in front, and we'll go 8, 7, 6. Be extra militant that this side feels okay, that rotator cuff is doing the work, not the neck. 3 and 2, and then 1, and then changing to being on the knees here. We're gonna lift and reach over and lower. Good. And 3, 2, as you tired, don't drop your head in front of you. Last one, and then option to walk out one more time, but it's just an option. And then we're holding 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and then from here, well-deserved a mermaid. So take this into your Z set. Always feel free to modify if your knees are not happy to be there. And then we're gonna round and sit tall and counter stretch here. Actually, this side is your counter stretch. You're sitting tall and nice big mermaid here. Rotate if that feels good to your low back. Eliminate if your low back is not happy there. One more time all the way through. Good. And then we'll Z sit to side 2 here. always taking advantage of the open ribs to do a nice big inhale. And then you can rotate, make sure your low back is happy there. Back to that lateral plane, sit tall and counter stretch. Taking advantage of these moments to have some nice big inhales. One more time all the way through. Okay, and then the last piece today, and then we'll fit in as many stretches as we can, is lying on our stomachs. That work is always called prone, with the idea of doing a little bit of back extension to get the back extensors and the arm bones and the shoulder blades all linked up. While we work the back extensors, we want to work the core even more, so we don't work things like the quadratus lumborum in the back. Okay, so starting into T-pole 1, we want to be able to reach the arms overhead into the sides of the room. If your space doesn't allow you to do that, no biggie. Just mark where you need to bend your elbows so you don't hit your hand on something. All right, so reach those arms overhead, and then head is in a chin nod, just hovering above the floor. Now in T-pole 1 and 2, you can add that chest lift and stay elevated the whole time. That's your back extension work. All of this starts from pulling your belly button away from the floor as if there's a thumbtack on the floor, okay? So reaching overhead, exhaling as you go to the sides, inhaling arms overhead. Exhale. And 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Work that underside of the arm into the shoulder blades, under the shoulder blades. This is your last one, and hold with your arms out to the sides of the room. Keep breathing, keep pulling navel to spine. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax to the floor for a moment. Check where your body's felt tired. Are those your back extensors? Is it more low back into the quadratus lumborum? Then take away some elevation for this next one and double your effort to work in the belly button, pulling it away from the floor. T-pole 2, same head and neck position. Arms start out to the sides of the room. On your exhale, hands go down. Inhale, reach to the sides. Exhale, arms go down. And again, that chest lift is optional here. We've got 6, 5, 4, 3, and then we're gonna hold again on 1. Think of rocket mans or rocket womans. And you're gonna keep breathing, but pull that navel to spine here for 8, 7, 6. You can even lift the feet. 3, 2, 1. And then bring those forearms in front of you. Palms can flatten into the floor, and take this into a small swan. Always initiating from pulling navel to spine here. Inhales down. Yeah, squeeze those shoulder blades down. 2 more, and then we'll make it bigger. So if you want to stay here, if this is enough work, awesome. If you want to take it a little further, you'll straighten the arms a bit overhead and keep those palms on the floor as you straighten the elbows and lift into swan. Always drive it from pulling the navel to spine as you lift. It's an ab exercise. Good. And 3, 2 more, 2, and 1. All right, let's turn over and grab our TheraBands, and we'll do our IT band stretch and our glute stretch. And then if there's time, we'll also kneel and do hip flexor. I'm gonna start with the band around my right foot. And then just immediately take this into your IT band stretch. So this right foot reaches to the left side of the room. And watch for any hip impingement here. We don't want to give the hip flexors an excuse to grip. And just double check that your right hip socket is still on the mat. It's like I'm there helping you press it into the floor. Okay, you guys know the drill. Healthy low backs without any issues. You can add on a point and flex here. We just don't want to over pull on the nerves. That's why I always give that cue. Last breath here, and then bring that right foot back up to the ceiling, and we'll bring the left ankle in front. This will be a glute stretch that should wrap around your left backside. And I think all of us enjoy more stretch here. So bend the right leg into tabletop. Check that your hip bones are still on the mat, that your tailbone is on the mat, that your abs are on supporting your low back. And then you can bring that right knee in as much as you need to get that stretch and press out on the left knee. Let's do a double inhale, exhale breath here. Great. And then slowly unpretzel, guys. And we're going to switch which foot is in the band. We're going to bring the left foot in and then the right foot out. And we'll start with the IT band stretch here on this side. Straighten that right leg on the floor. Bring that left leg over. Okay, and then pretend somebody's there helping you press that left hip bone into the mat. And check on your hip flexors, especially in the inner thigh, that they're not overactivated here. Line of pull, I didn't talk about it on the other side, but I talk about it a lot. I want your elbows low and into the mat so that you're stabilizing through the shoulder blades, not into the neck. All right, any pointing and flexing you want to do, as long as you don't have things like sciatica and stenosis. And then straighten that leg to the ceiling. Probably go ahead and bend that left knee. We're going into the glute stretch on the right side. So that means right ankle in front of left knee. And keeping the tailbone on the mat, the waist equally long. And then from here, bring in the left knee if you need more stretch and press out on the right knee. Again. All right, slowly and gently make your way out of this stretch. You can put your band to the side here. And then we'll come to upright, kneeling one more time. I totally understand that you guys may need to do other things at 9 o'clock, but I'm gonna keep going with some hip flexor stretches. So I won't be offended if you need to click off. But at hip flexor stretches, if you can stay with me, I've started with the right foot forward and the left knee will be back. Right foot forward, left knee back, okay? And then you can lift up the left arm. That creates that hip flexor stretch here. And then tilt the pelvis and just see, oh yeah, those are the really small hip flexors. I feel them stretching. And then if you need more in the big hip flexors, or if that's your emphasis, press into that front leg. Just want to make sure you don't go into an excessive low back curve. The imprinted spine is a good idea here. Good. And then slowly side bend. So this left arm is reaching to the right. So if you guys see me straight on, you can see I've got this side bend going on there. Yeah, always feel free to be near a piece of furniture or a wall that you can hold on to. Just as long as it's something you're not going to crash into and does not have wheels. Okay, and then rotate the rib cage so you're looking now over to the right side of your room. You can always drop the left arm if you need some help balancing. Today, I'd like to do something new anyways. You can bring this left arm across and get some shoulder stretch and deltoid stretch here. Okay, let's do 2 more breaths here. And then you're going to look forward, drop the arms, and now rotate so you're looking to the left side of the room. If your balance allows and you need more stretch, you're going to bring your right palm to the inside of the knee here, and you can press. This is one place that, at least in my body, I can find that, okay, let's make some more space, loosen the femur head out of the hip socket a bit. Not in a displacive way, just in a like, oh, it's overly tight, I can make some room here. So if that's not going on in your body, don't worry about it. But I think for most of us who are sitting and taking care of stuff all day, that is an issue often. All right, so next up, you'll straighten this right leg in front of you and bring the toes off the floor. That's your calf and hamstring stretch here. And to make this deeper, only if you need it, don't press this too hard. You can press the heel into the mat, really try and straighten the knee without hyperextending it, and then perhaps even send the hips back a little bit. Let's do 2 more inhales and exhales here. Again. All right, and then slowly come out of this, and we're gonna switch sides. So now we'll have the right knee back and the left knee in front. This will actually stretch out the right side hip flexor set. And then if balance allows, you'll lift up that right arm. Check that those hip bones are nice and level and that you don't have an excessive low back curve. I'd rather have you tilt the pelvis under and then press forward. And those tilts of the pelvis are not like a tucking. It's a lengthening in the pelvis, lengthening in the low back and sacrum. It's nuanced, but it's still worth naming. Okay, and then slightly side bend. So it's this right arm reaching left. Still maintain your center of gravity or else this gets to be too challenging. Nice big inhale into the right side of your body here. Good. And then we're going to rotate. So we're looking to the left side of the room. And you could add on this deltoid and arms shoulder stretch here. So I'm hugging my right arm to my body as I'm looking left, but it just might be one too many things going on. So it's okay if you eliminate that piece. One more big breath here. Good, and then come out of all the side bend and the rotation, just look nice and straightforward, drop the arms, and we'll do our inner thigh hip flexor stretch here. So I'm rotating now to look at the right side of the room. You can press the left palm into the inside of the knee, and then just pulling navel to spine here. Good. And again, thinking of, okay, how tight is the head of the femur in the hip socket here? Does it need to loosen up a bit? Visualize creating some space there. And just seeing how possible and how that feels in your body. Good. And then take this rotation away, just look straight forward. And one of our last stretches here. Taking those toes off the floor, straightening that knee as best you can without hyperextending it. Good job, guys. One last big breath here. Good, and then hopefully this is a pretty easy place to get off the floor, and you'll come to standing. And then stand that hip bone distance apart with your feet in parallel. And we'll end where we started here. Just a nice big inhale. On the exhale, chin to chest, tilt the pelvis, activate that core, and roll down. It's like you're melting down the front of your body. Pausing here at the bottom, seeing where the stretch is now. And when you're in that stretch, are you closer to the floor? Okay, one more inhale, and then on your exhale, tilt the pelvis and slowly come up, supporting each vertebrae as you stack on top of your hips here. It's a lot of core work to protect the lumbar spine there. All right, you guys, thank you for joining. I hope you feel much more balanced to head into this week, whatever it may bring. I have Wi-Fi where I am, so I'm emailing lots of videos to people so that they can accommodate their schedule and that I'm not running as many classes this week. So feel free to ask me. I have this bank of YouTube videos. But thank you again for joining. Michelle, so good to see you. Your son was so cute. And just thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful Monday, and I'll see you soon.
Say hi to the fishies for me.
Oh, I know, they miss you. They miss your scuba gear.